And hello guys, Card Senpai here. Today it's almost midnight and I just wanted to make a video because I haven't been posting for a while, maybe for a few days. But today I want to be talking about Japanese versus English. I think this topic I just want to cover just to let everyone know where I stand in the Japanese versus English debate. So recently I saw this YouTube uh, Ori Orion Cyrus. I'm not sure, but I was skimming through my algorithm and I saw that he was talking about Japanese prices starting to surpass English, and for some reason he's trying to. I'm not gonna try to attack him, but he was claiming that he is kind of surprised that the first edition English E-series, if I'm not mistaken, oh no, I think the Charizard. Was it the Shining Charizard? Yeah, I think it was the Shining Charizard that he was comparing between English first edition and the Japanese version, and saying that he is blown away and surprised that Japanese cards are kind of starting to have a massive surge. When in reality, I think many people right now, if you've been collecting for a while, you kind of understand that when it comes to this kind of Pokemon first edition topics, I think you have to include Japanese, right? And most of the time, people don't realize that first edition English is just, I would say, I will not try to put down any English collector, but I'll try to say this in the most polite way as possible. English cards are basically uh, reprints from Japanese, right? I just want to say it, but it doesn't mean like it's bad or it's I think, or in my opinion, these first edition English cards are actually should be considered first edition reprints. That's just my take because literally they just copied off Japanese sets where the Japanese originated from, Japan. So why is it that people cannot understand and cannot accept that when people get more educated in the hobby and all these people who invested so much of their money into English are now starting to kind of understand like, oh, maybe I misunderstood that this first edition, because a lot of these collectors, influencers, so-called grail collectors, when they collect the first edition cards, they kind of close one eye, right? Because it's much more harder to reach because it's overseas, but they close a blind eye to Japanese cards when in reality, until now, you guys are kind of believed and been duped. I wouldn't say duped, but I would say brainwashed that these first editions were so-called the first prints. It is not, guys. Whether you're talking about vintage cards or even modern cards. Okay, Japanese cards prints first. Same with Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG. It all reprints from Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG. Okay, until now, even for One Piece, right? One Piece cards prints first. OP15 released few weeks ago. Japanese uh, OP15 and English is still waiting for its release. So every time people trying to compare this for some reason first edition American English, first edition I don't know, blue bottom One Piece boxes, like people kind of uh, they're not educated enough to understand that the Japanese cards, if you're talking about collectors way of collecting, how can I say, historical value, we're talking about Japanese in the end. Because whether you're talking about Grails, Pikachu Illustrator, no rarity Charizard, that's base. We're talking about promotional cards, right? We're talking about the Scream promo, the ponchos, the Mario Luigi, the magazine promos, what else? All these exclusive Japanese cards are just insane, right? Especially for the Daisuke cards, the Daisuke promos. We're talking about the Art Academy promos. Championship, of course, and so many more. So I don't understand why people who are collecting English first edition are surprised that Japanese cards, not even no rarity cards, guys, just Japanese base set cards are getting traction. Because even just normal Japanese base set cards are even older than first edition English. Okay? Let that sink into your head because I want to educate people to understand that when it comes to first edition English, there's no such thing. I would consider it first edition reprints. And yeah, that's just my take on it. I just wanted to make a midnight rant because of my algorithm when I was on the train, because I live in Tokyo and I saw Ori Orion. Yes, this is not a knock to him because maybe he's not aware. I'm not sure, but you know, he's kinda uh, I don't know, surprised for a guy that's been collecting. I don't know for maybe I don't know when he started like collecting, but uh, it shouldn't be a surprise at all for any collector. Maybe it's pretty hard for people to understand because they weren't exposed to the Japanese market. I talked about this in my old videos before that the Japanese market, we're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh! OCG, we're talking about Pokemon, TCG, we're talking about One Piece. We do not rely on what the foreign market to dictate our market or to kind of set a standard for us. We can live without there because in reality, even the people from North America, the people from the West, Europe, they all depend on Japanese because even their English One Piece cards are made in Japan. And yet, for some reason, it's kind of like we're being taught that, English cards are more valuable. That's like literally like saying, uh, let's say a Japanese, right? A Japanese made a copy of maybe you can say first edition Bill of Rights, Constitution of United States of America, all in Japanese, hiragana, katakana, kanji, whatever you put it, and then it sells for much higher than the English English counterpart. Does that make sense? Because doesn't the Bill of Rights or the Constitution belong in the U.S.? Yes, it does. There's history behind it. Same with these cards. The origin is Japan, and people for some reason pretend like just because English is a universal language that it dictates like for some reason it dictates the value just because it's in English doesn't mean nothing, right? Same with so many items that are I would say like collectible. And I think the US kind of use this way of trying to influence people to for example, right? You could put a Japanese card selling in a English market, and then for some reason that card sells big in America, but in Japan it doesn't sell the same. It's because of what? It's two different markets, right? And yeah, pretty simple. I just wanted to make that clear. And this is no knock on Orion, but I was just kind of surprised that he would talk as if it's maybe I took it the wrong way, but I felt like he just kind of looked down onto Japanese cards because the way that he said is kind of like he's blown away. That I would say he is comparing his collection, which he has in his hand, to other people who actually just recently starting to have an auction with other cards. That Japanese are starting to skyrocket and maybe like realize, I don't know if maybe he realized that his card isn't as its first edition as it seems to be to him. But yeah, if you see this, sorry, I forgot to remember how to say his YouTube, but he's a cool guy. I like him. I like how he has passion for the hobby and is interested. And I don't wanna create any drama where he feels like he has like second thoughts of with Japanese or English cards. Just collect what you like, but in terms of distributing facts, English cards are reprints, and that's just fact. You can look in history, you can chat GPT, I don't know, whatever you want to do your research. English cards are all reprints to Japanese. Okay? And yeah, thank you guys for listening to my rant. Sorry it's pretty late, and yeah, see you guys on the next one. Bye bye. Peace.